a nice game tonight. I think a bit of a rocky start, just in terms of our ability to try to get some control of the game. And it took a while. The last third of the first half were our first soccer moments. Soccer moments meaning, we connect a few passes, push them back a little bit more. A couple of moments where we were able to sustain some, possession, and the game changed. And then goals changed the games. So really pleased. And then the mentality to continue on, it makes me really proud. And, we concede a goal. And okay, I know it's 4-0. Most people watching it say, it's over. But we know we've come back from big deficits, and we've conceded in such ways earlier in the year. We've conceded late in the game, a couple of times. So really proud of the group for, no panic, continuing to work hard to press. And we created some chances where we could have scored, maybe another goal or two. A lot of hard work. But a really positive mentality. I'm really, really proud.
Coach, Billo Diop, it seems like after he left the one match in an ambulance, he's just been on an otherworldly run. What are you seeing from him in training, let alone all of these goals he's bringing the team on the pitch?
Yeah, first he's brave. He's going into challenges in the press. He's difficult to defend or come out of 50-50 balls with. The way he uses his body, the way he can stretch out his legs and still be strong. His willingness to mix it up, is really impressive. And that shouldn't underscore his improvement in his overall soccer game. He's dangerous on the turn. He's good on the dribble. Composed. We saw it in the box, even when the one he assisted. He's a dangerous man, and everybody's seeing him. They're scouting him. They're seeing the threat that he offers. And yet he's still finding ways. He's finding space, or he's creating his own space. And he's improving in between lines. He is moving forward. And our team is following. So, if you have an informed striker, you've got a chance to win every game. And right now, he's that.
On top of Billo, can you talk about Rogelio and those 2 assists that he provided tonight?
I asked Rogelio, at halftime, how many passes did you give away in that first half? He's like, too many. But how many passes did you give that led to a goal? A thing of beauty. The second goal he takes down from Jackson over the shoulder, and then the weight and texture he puts on the ball to go across to Billo, that you don't see that every day. So he has these special qualities that the club has identified now for a long time, and he was pissed, I think, probably at himself, but a little bit too loose in possession. But he's such a hard worker. You can always depend on him for that. And then when he has those moments to bring out quality, and there's some real quality from him. So, that's also part of the mentality. I'm not doing as well as I'd like to do. I'm going to keep working. I can do it. I think that's what he showed. So, yeah, really good.
You talk about James Cameron. I know every fullback really thinks they're a winger, and
Yeah.
He's actually getting run out as a winger.
Yeah. He's proven to be versatile for sure. And, right side, left side, right back. He likes a little bit more of the 11 if he's in the attacking position. He's such a tough player, a robust player, and again, another willing player to mix it up. And he's a handful, so if he's running at you, you kind of have to respect his, freight train mentality. He has it with the ball and without. But if he's seeking the press, so we're really trying to push him early in the game. I'll be more aggressive. Got to protect the guy over here, but you can look to press him, because if he does, he's a handful, and then really Johnny on the spot a couple of games in a row, but you got to put it in the back of the net. He's done that. He's a tough player to defend, a tough player to deal with.
Coach, can you talk about Josh Belluz? He just seems like such a absolute obstacle for offenses to get around.
Yeah. I guess, I could probably just say I'm proud of the team and leave it at that, but I'm really proud of Josh. We had, the big comeback against Tacoma here. He wasn't even in the 20, and he's been a leader, since that moment, so you could take that information, your pride could really take a hit there and you could stay down, and he's not, he took it in stride, said, all right, let's get back to work. So he's done really well. He has composure in the box when he's blocking shots. He's been a big man as he is, in aerial battles. And he's been composed with the ball. He's been a real source of stability for us. So I'm really pleased.
Nice. 4-1 win. What was the message in the locker room after the game?
No message. A handshake for each player. We know it's kind of like, 4-0, 4-1. There's still work to be done. We know we've got a game in a short time, midweek. And I think the guys feel good. It's not for me to warn them that we have a game right around the corner. It's not for me necessarily to say, you've done well, right? Sometimes it's good just to feel good and leave it at that. There'll be some messages, but, we are trying to win regardless of who we put on the field. If I was to give a message, it would be reinforcing that. It was one of the last messages before we went out, and it might be the next one. Because when you believe in the different players, regardless of who steps on the field, when you believe you can win, you have the makings of a real team. So I hope every game we're taking strides closer to that belief, increasing the level of that belief, because we have a lot of different guys stepping up and doing great things.
Coach, Marcelo Balboa is having his jersey retired tomorrow. Works with the academy. Drew Moore also. Colin Warner. What does it mean to these players, especially the young homegrown kids, coming up and getting to work directly with people who have done what they aim to do?
Yeah, it's and not only that, they've done it at the club, which is great for us. Yeah, Warner is helps in so many different ways. He's not that long removed from being, that player. Neither is Drew. But Warner is a consistent voice, and guys trust in him, and a lot of that goes to the journeyman pro that he was and being able to sustain a career. Drew Moore, it's hard to run, short on pauses with Drew. He's with us once or twice a week. He's all over working with our backs, but also just a positive source for our team. So, irreplaceable. Then Cello, Cello we have actually coming out to work with the backs. They don't know it yet this week. If it's this week or it's next, and to bring in some of his skill set and pushing guys. And that's what we want. We want guys pushing guys in, multiple World Cups. You don't see that every day. So, there's a lot there for the club to be proud of as well. And these guys who are giving back to our next best players.